All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the 3-3 Houston Texans. They're entering their bye week this week. They're coming off a great 20-13 victory against the New Orleans Saints. CJ Stroud finally threw an interception. He had an NFL record 191 pass attempts without an interception to start his career. He's also currently fourth in the league with 1,660 passing yards. Speaking of young talent, Will Anderson Jr., extremely talented. Those sacks will come. We'll talk about that later on in the video. And then obviously you have your man in DeMeco Ryans. Top to bottom, organizationally, the Houston Texans, I love it. I absolutely love it. DeMeco Ryans has this team playing hard. We know the dude is an absolute winner. We know the dude is so respected across the league, whether it's coaches, whether it's management, whether it's players. It's a recipe for success. Just those three people alone. CJ Stroud has impressed me so much, and we'll talk about him later on in the video. He's got a quick release. He sees the field. He's accurate. More importantly, he's your franchise QB, and he is as professional as they come. He has a beautiful work ethic, it appears. The offensive line has been fantastic. All things considered, they've been just not decimated, but pretty much decimated at the offensive line position. It takes in general 5 to 6 weeks to just figure out that offensive line group. They've been injured, like I said, but now that you've got all pro left tackle coming back, they look good. This team just looks good. And one of the reasons I'm so fired up right now is because I was watching, I think it was like First Things First, and they were doing tiers in the NFL, and I saw the Houston Texans. They put them as, better story than team. And I'm thinking to myself, first off, that's kind of the point, and I also don't think that is true. Now, we're going to talk about that because it is a bye week in tonight's video, but before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Thank you guys so much for 50K Texans fans. You guys are a huge reason for that. If you could try and get this video to 250 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So before we dive into the nitty-gritty, let's just take a look at the Texans 1/3 of the way through the season, because keep in mind, this is a squad that last season won 3 football games, right? You have the number 2 pick, you have the number 3 pick, you have a new head coach coming in. We knew the tides had turned, not only for those 3 reasons, but we knew the tides have turned and the culture and the energy was shifting within Houston in general. But 3-3, 6 games into the season, I think it's like, they're just so much better than everybody had anticipated. Honestly, outside of Texans fans, there's a lot of Texans fans that, even Ohio State fans, that know CJ Stroud is the truth. But what we're seeing right now is just, it's beautiful. They've taken down 3 playoff teams. Now, no matter their record at the time of this recording, no matter their record that they finished the season, heading into the year, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the New Orleans Saints were pretty much all not confirmed, definitely not 100%, but most people would have had those 3 teams in the playoff race. Houston's taken them all down. Not only are they legitimate in the future, I think that's obvious, they're legitimate this season. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself because we're only 6 games into the season, but they're currently 8th in yards. We mentioned CJ Stroud's 4th in passing. He's averaging 276 passing yards per game. Now, keep in mind, that was with quote-unquote no wide receiver 1 heading into the season. Nico Collins has proved that extremely wrong. He has 11 forced missed tackles receptions this season. That's first among all wide receivers across the league. He also is averaging over 90 yards per game. CJ Stroud's the truth. They're putting up 23 points per game, all right? That's 14th in the league. Defensively, with DeMeco Ryans, 19 points per game. That's top 10 in the league. That's ranked 9th in this league. Shout out to guys like Blake Cashman, the highest graded linebacker in the NFL this season with a 90.3 PFF grade. Now, it's not perfect, right? Things are not perfect. It's the Houston Texans. They won 3 games last season. Things aren't supposed to be perfect. I am loving the aggressiveness of the GM, of the coaching, the players. I love the aggressiveness. Sometimes you swing and miss, but at least take the swing. Don't get called out with a strike 3 looking at the freaking plate. Now, we're going to talk about one of those things. It's the rush game, all right? Now, recently, this past week, we saw offensive snaps, Devin Singletary go up 50%. We saw Dameon Pierce drop 34%. Houston in general this season is only averaging they're 22nd in rush yards on the season. All right. Once again, injured offensive line. We do have to point that out. They're 30th in the league, averaging just 3.2 yards per carry. Now, whatever the future of Dameon Pierce is, that's up to your opinion. I think Dameon Pierce is still a great running back. I love my Florida Gators. He's actually currently 7th in the league, tied for like 3rd in the league in broken tackles with 9 total on the season. I think Devin Singletary either way should be implemented. No matter if Dameon Pierce is playing out of his mind, no matter if he's in a huge dud, whatever the case is, I would play Devin Singletary as much as possible. People forget because of the Buffalo Bills being so Josh Allen based or centric, I should say. Devin Singletary is coming off back-to-back 800 rushing yard seasons. All right, Devin Singletary has only been in the league for what? This is his 5th year now. He's a respected, quality, starting caliber running back. So yes, I have some concerns with Dameon Pierce. My concern is what the F is going on here. I need you to kind of figure this out very soon, by the end of the season preferably. But either way, Devin Singletary will certainly help get that rushing attack balanced out. And also the offensive line getting healthier will also balance it out. Now we're going to go to a quote from the GM here because I've been seeing some Chase Young trade rumors and I love his quote. Here's his quote. If there's something externally we think could have an impact, we'll look into that. If there isn't, then we won't. There's also a financial component. We have a pretty good working budget for the rest of the year. We could take on a certain contract. We try to make good decisions. Whatever happens at the trade deadline happens at the trade deadline. And, once again, no matter what happens at the trade deadline, I love the aggressiveness. I mean, once again, we're going to finish this video off talking about energy. The energy of the Houston Texans is completely different. And it's not just CJ Stroud. It's not just the GM. It's not just the coach. It's everything. I mean, it's honestly just Houston sports in general. The Rockets ascending. I'm a huge Rockets guy. A lot of you guys probably watch my Houston Rockets podcast. The energy has shifted completely. And I've mentioned this on a Texans video before. My dad used to tell me all the time, maybe I'm not the smartest person on the planet, but I'll outwork you, and I'll outwork you every single time. And that's exactly the type of vibe, that's exactly the type of gist that I get when I watch the Houston Texans play. The eye test, we could dive into statistics all day, and I think statistics should definitely be taken into consideration, but the eye test will always prove right. And what do your eyes tell you? Well, my eyes tell me that the Houston Texans are legit, and the Houston Texans' future is actually kind of terrifying. You have two superstars. You have 2 superstars on your team that you drafted a couple of months ago in CJ Stroud and Will Anderson Jr. This team, not only for the future, this team should not be taken lightly this season, as we've seen with those, the defeats to Pittsburgh, the Saints. I mean, they didn't play a perfect game. Tank Dell, the rookie, who's averaging like 65 receiving yards per game, he didn't even play. They struggled to move the ball. They won. The defense was amazing. That's it for tonight. Just a little Texans hype video. But guys, let me know what you're thinking 6 weeks into the season. Enjoy that bye week. Get healthy, specifically the offensive line. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that sub button. Have a great rest of your day. But more importantly, how are you feeling confidence-wise about the Houston Texans right now?